My name is Lacey Smith, and today I'm going to be going over a series of large ball exercises. Might be a little loud because I am at EOS Gym, but I'm going to try to make sure I explain the exercises and then demonstrate them. So the first one we're going to do is large ball cardio. The muscle that's going to target is going to be your pelvis and your abdominals. What it's for is what we talked about is for cardio. And before we go over that, I'm just going to talk about how we should sit on the ball. So when we sit on the large ball, which is this, you're gonna need this for these exercises. You're gonna want to make sure that you sit on the edge of the ball. So basically like this. No, not like this. Come right here. So to the side. Like this. So that last position that I just showed is exactly the right way. You don't want to sit in the middle of the ball. You want to sit at the edge of the ball. And what you want is to make sure that's going to make sure that your pelvis is stabilizing. It's really going to work that pelvis and those like hamstrings to keep you stable on the ball. And you don't want to sit in this middle part right here. And also when you're sitting on the ball, you want to make sure that the lines are moving towards this way, so towards where you're sitting. And you want to make sure that you keep your spine neutral. You want to make sure that your neck's not dangling. So let me show you a bad example of how to sit on the ball. And now let me show you a good example. So for cardio, we're going to start with small bounces, and they're just going to perform just how they sound. You're going to sit at the edge of the ball, and you're just going to keep doing a series of small bounces. Alright, perfect. And then you can do as many of those as you need to. And for the breathing, I'm not just going to be a normal breath that we usually do. Of course, breathe in, feel your breath coming from your ribs up to your stomach, going up, and then going back down, stomach to ribs, or belly to ribs, and then ribs to belly. And then another variation of cardio that you can do for this first exercise is called jumping jacks. And basically how that's going to happen is you're going to keep that same position on the ball, sitting at the edge, the line facing forward, keeping that spine neutral, that neck in place in line. The only thing that should be moving are your knees and your arms. And let me just demonstrate that right quick. Alright, and out to the side. So those were jumping jacks. And when you bring on that, you want to inhale an exertion. So every single time your knees are coming apart, you want to make sure you exhale, inhale coming back in, exhale, inhale coming back in. And now, another variation we're going to do for cardio is called Russian twist, and that'll be our last one for this first exercise, and then we'll move on to the second one. So for Russian twist, I'm just going to show you the positioning, and then I'll talk about it. So from the front, you're going to be right here. The arms coming right here. It's going to be a flip, 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 flip. Now from the side. So, going into that positioning, you're going to do the same thing we've been doing for all these exercises. Make sure we're sitting at the edge of the ball, lines facing towards, keeping spine neutral, chin in line. Only thing that should be moving is your legs. Your arms going to go ahead and cross in front of your chest, like this. And then your legs are going to come out to kind of point towards, like, think the ceiling, but they're pointing out. So they're just looking out one after the other. Same thing, normal breathing for that. And then if you want, you can start with one arm like this, do about 30 seconds of that, and then switch to the other arm and do 30 more seconds for a full minute for that cardio. And then now we're gonna move on to double arm raises and single arm raises on the large wall. So again, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and talk about the exercise of what they target, the breathing, demonstrate it, then come back and explain the body alignment for the exercise. So for double arm raises and single arm raises, it's going to again target your abdominal and pelvic muscles. For this one, it's going to increase your pelvic stability. And then now I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate it. I'm going to go back and talk about what to do for it. Here. These are the double arm raises first. Going to the side. So for that exercise, what's really important is making sure that you're hinging at the hips. So I think as you can see in the way I just demonstrated, I wasn't arching my back or curling it over to get down. You want to keep that back straight in line, neutral spine, and you want to make sure you're bending at your hips, inhaling, and then when you come back up, you're going to exhale. Inhale, bending at the hips, keeping that spine in neutral, and then exhale, bringing it back up, still keeping that spine in neutral. And so now we're going to move on to single arm raises. Again, we're going to demonstrate it, then I'll come back and talk about it. To this side. So for that exercise, you're basically going to do the same position we talked about through this whole video, but coming to on the edge of that ball with the lines facing towards it, really leaning on that pelvic for your support. And for this one, the breathing is going to be inhale, inhale, exhale, exhale. So for each switch of the arm, inhale, inhale, exhale, exhale. And again, you want to make sure you're just keeping that spine in neutral and just bouncing at the at your pelvis, switching those arms, keeping those breaths going. So that was double and single arm raises. Now for the third exercise, we're going to do the abdominal curl. They're kind of like roll-ups in Pilates if you have experienced that before. But basically, what it's going to do is this time it's going to target your abdominals and your spine articulation, and it's going to increase your spine articulation. And again, I'm going to demonstrate it, and then I'm going to come back and talk about it. Okay, so for the abdominal curls, what's basically happening is that you're going to start with crossing your arms over your chest. You're going to keep that neutral spine and everything. You're going to inhale as kind of a prep, and on the exhale, you're going to start by walking your feet forward and curling under through your pelvis, and just walking those legs forward until you end up with your head and your shoulders on the ball. At that point, you're going to inhale again and exhale, starting with your shoulders and head rolling up, and then curling that spine back in while walking your feet back to go back to that upright position. So basically, you're exhaling on each of your spine articulations. So whenever you're bending and rolling through the spine, you're going to exhale, and you're going to inhale to prep to roll back up and roll back down. So that was abdominal curls. And then for the fourth exercise, we're going to do touch and goes. I'm pretty sure that's what they're called, or touchdowns. So sorry, I think it's touch and toss. Yeah. Let me just make sure so I don't miscorrect myself.